Hello, this is Mr. Bacon Bits, and welcome back to Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Well, last part we found our 5th sage, Minoru. So, now we have all the sages with us, and we just have to get the Master Sword now. Minoru suggested we head over to the Deku Tree. So we're going to do that. The Deku Tree can be found in the Great Forest up north here, right around here. So yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. Also, we got some kind of inkling that Zelda may have performed a forbidden process that cannot be reversed in order to bring the Master Sword back to this era. That seems, strange. There's a Korok right here. Hey you! Can I talk to you for a minute? Sure. I went for a walk, and now I can't get back to Korok Forest. And my friends I was walking with jumped into this weird hole. They said we might be able to go back to the forest through the hole, but do you think it's safe? Huh. Well, before we take a look at that, let's see what he's talking about with the Korok Forest being inaccessible. It's right around here. That's not a very friendly-looking fog. But let's check it out. That is a very abnormal-looking color for the frog. So bad, real bad. The Lost Woods just aren't right anymore. No matter which way I enter, the fog comes and gets me, and then I'm right back at the beginning. I can't return to Korok Forest like this. I want to go home. I did hear that a big hole opened up in Minchi Woods. Kinda scary. Huh. Oh, we got somebody here, too. What is with these weird vibes? Oh, are you an adventurer, too? You feel the vibes, right? The strange vibes in the air all around here? I feel the vibes. Whoa. Phew, another vibe feeler. I was starting to worry that it might just be me. Can we, stop talking about vibes? The forest ahead is the Lost Woods, and it's always been pretty weird. If you got lost, you'd wind up back at the entrance. But now the fog in there's gotten even thicker. Take 2 steps into the forest and it'll spit you right out. Ooh. Not too long ago, you could at least walk into these woods, but now you can't progress at all. Okay. Yeah, no kidding. So, the Lost Woods are inaccessible right now. Let's head back and try that chasm. Maybe we can enter the Lost Woods from below. Okay, horsey. Let's go ahead and head down. Thankfully, it's just right over here. Okay. Hopefully you'll be safe, horse. Oh, that's you I was hearing. Okay. Alright. Down into the depths once more. Here we go. Hello. Oh, say, are you also looking for a path that leads to Korok Forest?
We Koroks are unable to return to Korok Forest, and we found a weird hole, so we climbed into it. Anyway, Korok Forest is in that direction. The other Koroks went that way.
Okay. I'm not going to talk to every Korok in the way. But, yeah. Apparently we just follow this path filled with Poe souls.
Yeah.
Might have to use Minoru's construct here in a little bit to, traverse some gloom. But so far, so good. Just gonna be collecting these.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
That's the Lost Fog! There! The fog up on the ceiling! You see it? That's definitely the Lost Fog that hides Korok Forest. I just know the forest is up above the fog. I just know it.
Well, we have to keep moving then. Just keep throwing light sources and don't fall off. I do kind of wish that they did the sages a little better. I hate the idea that I can accidentally activate a sage's power. Anyway, now that we're in the middle of like a bunch of gloom, this is the perfect time to use Minoru's construct, wouldn't you say? Korok Grove. Something showed up. Okay, I might have to... Ah! Come on, get off of me! I might have to escape. Jeez, you're fast. Okay. Ow! Okay. Okay, I got rid of all of them. Now I just have to deal with you. This is basically how dealing with those gloom hands is going to work. Actually, I've already demonstrated it when getting the Hylian shield. Gotcha! Ow! Okay. Ah. Okay. 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 I'm doing... not great. There we go. Let's get those dark clumps. This. And I'm gonna attach this. There we go. Yeah, might as well continue using that. We're heading over here, actually. So let me do this. The construct is pretty useful for exploring the depths, I gotta say. I mean, assuming you don't build a flying machine. Okay, we're nearly there. Okay. This looks like a perfect opportunity to ascend. So let's do it. Actually, let's activate this light route here. Okay, Rico Nasum. Almost got the entire depths lit up. So that's nice. This giant tree right here is actually from the Deku tree. So we're basically at its roots somewhat. So we'll be able to make our way right in front of the Great Deku Tree. Okay. Creepy. You've got... That's where the poison mist is coming from, it looks like. They're just kind of... non-responsive. Creepy. Let's get this shrine so that we have a place to teleport to. And see what this shrine holds in store for us. Okay, swing to hit. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. Maybe I'll just do it this way. Not entirely sure how to do this one. So I will just kind of do this. And then recall so that I can use it to cross. This one, though. Okay. And we just swing this. Nice. Okay. Actually, might be better if I do it this way. Okay. Alright. That works. Now, we need this. We need to hit that thing. And the best way to do it is to use the wooden pillar here. So, I'm gonna do that. Place that there, place that over here. No, it needs to be poking out a little more. There. Okay. And then do this. And swing this along to cause some momentum. There we go. Pretty nice little shrine there. Okay, so the best thing we can do is, well, see what's going on inside the Deku Tree. And it looks like there's a chasm. That's not good. Yeah, this definitely opened up. Well, let's see what's causing the blight. This kind of gives me Ocarina of Time vibes. There we go. Now, we won't fight Goma here. Instead, it's just another Phantom Ganon. So... Let's use a bow. Yeah. Nice. Okay. That didn't do as much damage as I hoped. Okay. I've got a good... Ow! I got a good distance weapon. Okay. That used that up. Let's do this. Kogera Reaper. In case you're wondering about that, you can actually refight the temple bosses down in the depths. I'll talk more about that later. Ow. Ow. Did not mean to do that. Alright, there we go. Took care of you. There we go. We healed the Deku Tree. And the Koroks flying down definitely reminds me of Wind Waker.
You did it! Thank you so much, Mr. Hero. The Great Deku Tree is waiting for you in Korok Forest.
Alright, we just have to find our way up there. These mushrooms over here look good enough. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, Phantom Ganon dropped some goodies. Get another Demon King bow, and I'll go ahead and connect another thing to that. Okay. So we'll just ascend up through here. Of course, we could just use that shrine that we just unlocked. But this option is for those that didn't do it yet. And then just ascend through here. Sorry for spooking you. Hey, you're over here now. Nice. So yes, if you're wondering about Hestu, he stays at Lookout Landing until you clear out the poison mist from Korok Forest. So, yep, he's here now. Let's go ahead and talk to the Deku Tree. Alright. So it is you. I must apologize. I am still quite groggy, as though I am awakening from a bad dream. You rid me of that unpleasantness deep within me. Yes, you went to great trouble to restore me. Thank you. It has been some time since last we spoke. Have you been well? Yes, the last time we spoke. That was when you came here with the princess to retrieve the Master Sword.
It is good to see you, Princess Zelda of Hyrule, and Link, Keeper of the Master Sword. Your blade has been fully restored. Go on then, Link. Draw it once more.
Great Deku Tree! Thank you so much.
There is no need for thanks. I merely watched over its renewal.
It is amazing that a sword can heal itself, no matter how badly damaged it becomes.
It can do more than heal. The sword will continue to gain strength if bathed in sacred power. The stronger that power, the more powerful the sword becomes. The potential of this fabled blade may well be limitless. Truly the work of a goddess.
A sword that grows ever stronger. The Master Sword.
So that's how Zelda knew about the Master Sword's power capabilities. But the sword. It would seem that you no longer wield it. Where has it gone? What is this, then? You do not know where the Master Sword is. I see. Yet I can sense it even now. There can be no mistake. It's over there, huh? It's here. In the sky, I feel the Master Sword's presence strongly in this area. But what could this mean? The Master Sword seems to be moving. You may need to be resourceful to reach the sword, but you must find a way. Surely the Master Sword is awaiting you, just as you are seeking it. Huh. Okay. The Master Sword is moving. Zelda did a forbidden act of draconification. Ugh. Well... Well, before I go ahead and get the Master Sword there, let's go ahead and take care of any unfinished business here. Unveil the last of the map. So, let's go. I'm basically gonna travel back here, grab my horse, and then head due north because that's where the tower is here. So, I will cut ahead. Okay. I whistled for the horse. It should be approaching me. There you are. Kind of having a hard time... You were kind of having a hard time getting around that gloom. Okay. Now... There is a path that I can take. Somewhere nearby here. Right over here. Or no, I think over here. Yeah, here we go. Here's a decent path. We'll just follow this. Yeah, screw you. Okay. This is kind of a dead end for the horse, so I'll just kind of leave him here so he can graze on some grass. I'll just head over here, look out towards the horizon, and yep, we're heading over there to that last tower. So pardon me for the other cut. Here we go. This place may not seem familiar to you, but this is Typhlo Ruins. Curiously, a few years ago, back in Breath of the Wild, these entire ruins had a mysterious darkness cast over them. Now we can see in its entirety what was in them. Kind of interesting. But yes, it was hiding some very significant Zonai ruins. There's that guy there, but we are mostly focused on the tower.
Oh.
Good morning. So we meet again, eh? Sorry, this Skyview Tower is out of order and maintenance is proving tricky. What's wrong? Well, the terminal that starts up the Skyview Tower isn't working. I've checked all the terminal's parts, but nothing looks broken. I wonder if something to do with the tower itself is broken. Well, there are these floating platforms around here. Maybe we can head up to the top and see what's wrong. Alright, let's see here. Maybe one rocket will do? Aha, the top is blocked. Alright. Nothing a little, Ultra Hand can't fix. There we go. Fixed that up nice and easy. Let's head back down. The terminal! It's working again! Even though I didn't do anything. Huh? There was something blocking the top of the Skyview Tower. The terminal and the lid on top of the tower are connected. So if the lid wouldn't work because it was blocked, I guess the terminal wouldn't work either. Well, I'm in a hurry and everything seems to be working properly, so I'll head out. Thank you for fixing the Skyview Tower. I'm off. Alright, let's activate the final tower. There we go. Surface map complete. Don't forget the sky map, too. Now, coincidentally, since we're over here, the last geoglyph is right there. So, let's take care of this. Let's get all of the dragon's tears. Okay. The filled-in tear is at the very tip of that sword. It's the Master Sword, it looks like. Let's go ahead and drop down. Okay. Just have to get up. I wonder where the Master Sword is now. Right over there, huh? Well, yeah, it's on the mini-map. Can't even see it, though. Huh. Must be, like, really high up. Yeah, not sure. Wherever it is, it's moving. Let's just get this dragon tear up here.
I managed to restrain him somehow. But Link, I am not sure you'll be able to stop him. Master Sword. How is the Master Sword? You're telling me that Link is safe? You traveled through time to find me and recover your strength.
Zelda, I believe there is a reason you were sent to us. It has to mean something.
I know why I am here. It's something only I can do. We will finally stop him.
To become an immortal dragon is to lose oneself.
I'll be forever changed. Link! You must find me.
It seems that memory took place before the one that showed Zelda asking for Mineru's counsel. It's the Light Dragon. And there was the Master Sword. The Light Dragon certainly looked a lot like Zelda, didn't it? I think it's pretty obvious. It's gonna be tough, but let's watch the final memory. It's a good thing I took care of this shrine over here, so that I could instantly teleport here. Okay.
Was that the sword that seals the darkness? The blade that shatters so easily against my power cannot save you from me.
The sword will continue to gain strength if bathed in sacred power. The stronger that power, the more powerful the sword becomes.
After all, you possess more than power over time. You have a sacred power that can dispel evil.
To swallow a secret stone is to become an immortal dragon, one blessed with eternal life.
Minoru, I'm counting on you. Link, I will restore the Master Sword for you. I will care for it until the time comes. I will pour my sacred power into it. It will be the weapon that defeats the Demon King.
To become an immortal dragon is to lose oneself.
You must. Protect them all!
Zelda. I won't let your sacrifice be in vain. We have to get the Master Sword. Here we go. We're on the Light Dragon, who previously used to be Zelda. Now, I do want to say one thing. In order to upgrade some armors, particularly the Champion's Leathers right here, you are going to need some parts from the Light Dragon. And right now, before you take the Master Sword, this is the only time that the Light Dragon will be this low. Otherwise, she'll be so high up in the sky that otherwise she's like so extremely high up in the sky that it's kind of difficult to reach her. You can still reach her, it's just a matter of finding her and having enough battery power to fly up to her. So, if you at all care about having your stuff upgraded, it might be easiest to just wait on getting the Master Sword before... Yeah, it might just be easier to wait on getting the Master Sword. But if you don't care about things being easier, go ahead and get it. In fact, as much as I hate to harm her, I'm just gonna do one arrow. At least get a scale from her. These Light Dragon parts, by the way, if you fuse them onto a weapon, they can actually heal you with every strike you land. Here we go. It's the Master Sword. You need 2 full stamina wheels. I'm sorry if this is hurting you, Zelda. Come on, I need this. Come on, I've almost got it. Let's take it.
Link. Link. The Master Sword. Your sword. She is the key to destroying the Demon King. He defeated her before, but a long slumber will heal these grievous wounds. And when you two next face the Demon King, you will have my strength to help you through her. Link, you are our final hope. I pray this sword reaches you in the future.
The legendary sword that seals the darkness. Its corruption was healed by its time with the Light Dragon. The blade gleams with a sacred luster that can oppose the Demon King. Thank you, Zelda. We now have the Master Sword. We are finally ready to face off against the Demon King. But one last thing before I go ahead and do that. There's kind of a side adventure that I find interesting that I believe we started in Lookout Landing. If I didn't do it on camera, essentially, once you... Let's get to it real quick. Messages from an Ancient Era. Yeah, I forgot if I did this on screen, but after clearing at least one temple, if you head back to Lookout Landing, you'll notice that there is a stone tablet that fell from really high up in the sky. And if you notice, somewhere above Lookout Landing, there's a star-shaped sky island. This is actually the highest point in the entire sky. Thankfully, you don't have to go up there because the stone tablet fell. Anyway, investigating that stone tablet and the person investigating it, Wordsworth, I believe, will start this side adventure. So let's do this, because it actually reveals a little bit of lore involving the history. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Wordsworth's research house is over here. So let's go ahead and talk to him.
Yeah.
Ah, Link. Good of you to come. Too curious to stay away, huh? You know it.
Oh.
I thought so. I'm glad to see you showing an interest in my work.
Oh.
This is a picture of the stone tablet that fell from the sky at Lookout Landing. I managed to decipher the inscription on it using my notes on ancient Hyrulean I had in storage at this research lab. Here's what it says. Now, this is using a mixture of old language with a kind of like ye old language and a little bit of English, old, new words to kind of like make it a little bit more legible. I'm going to use a translation provided by Lilikian on Reddit. So, once held by honor as a high maiden to King Rauru and Queen Sonia, thereafter to his sister and to Princess Zelda. Here, on this great stone, and 12 more withal, I composed an account of my time with the royal family of Hyrule. So might their remembrance be preserved, for the sake of them on whom our hope rested. There's not much to go on, but you can clearly read the names of King Rauru and Queen Sonia, the founders of Hyrule. The name Zelda is clearly legible elsewhere in the text. The author finishes by saying that she will write about the royal family's daily lives in 13 segments. It certainly seems to be a royal diary left behind by a chamberlain or someone of equivalent station. The part that catches my attention is the third name mentioned, Zelda. There's no record of anyone by that name in any of the other texts we've unearthed so far, but this is evidence that the name Zelda is much older than the princess. It dates all the way back to Hyrule's founding. What's written here must be the start of a first-hand account of Hyrule. Did you notice the number 13 there? That means there are 12 more stone tablets to be found. If a royal chamberlain really left these, it's an interesting perspective on the day-to-day life of the era, one which the history books don't mention. There's so much we could learn here of King Rauru, Queen Sonia, or even this curious woman named Zelda. 12 stone tablets left. Fascinating. If you happen to find more stone tablets on your travels, get some kind of visual evidence of them and show it to me. I'll make sure there's a nice reward in it for you. Little does he know what Zelda that was talking about. Anyway, for your convenience, I marked the 12 star-shaped islands on the map here. So if you're curious about getting to them yourself, go ahead and make a note of these. In order to reach them, I would suggest you need to have some significant battery power and being able to build Zonai constructs so that you can fly to them. So, with all that said, I'm going to cut ahead to when I have them all. That's kind of feels off. Kind of feels off without Zelda, quote-unquote, announcing the Blood Moon. But yeah, I took pictures of all of the stone tablets. So before I go ahead and kind of drop those off by Wordsworth, I wanted to visit the place where it all started, the Great Sky Island. Nice memories. But also, because there is a mysterious beacon shining at the top of the Temple of Time. So let's investigate that. This beacon shows up once you have the Zora armor, which is the ability to swim up waterfalls. Didn't really get to use the Master Sword. Figured I'd talk about how the Master Sword works. It's kind of similar to Breath of the Wild in that it has durability like regular weapons. Once the durability goes down, the Master Sword disappears from your inventory. But that's because it's like recharging. After a few minutes, it'll be recharged back to normal, and you'll have it back in your inventory. So that's how it kind of works. It has a fixed attack power. As you can see, it doesn't have a attack power thing. It has a fixed attack power. The cool thing about it is that you can still use fusions to power it up. So, say for instance, I fuse it with something really powerful like a Boss Bokoblin Horn. I can do that. And it doesn't actually change how the sword looks. See? That's actually kind of cool. I wish more weapons did that. Anyway, let's ascend to the top. Looks like it's a Zonai robot.
I have been waiting for you. My purpose is to conduct a ceremony to test the strength of any visitors. Those who pass are told the story of the Great Sky Island. I sense you are qualified to attempt this ceremony. Please inform me when you are prepared to begin.
Okay. So, like I said, this opens up when you have the ability to swim up waterfalls, so that means you're going to have the Zora armor equipped. Yes, I'm ready.
Very well, I will explain the ceremony. It is quite simple. You must light the 3 fires on this island and then return here within the time limit. You have 12 hours. The sounding of the time bell will signal the start of the ceremony. It will end with the sound of the next bell. This concludes my explanation. There will be a delay before the ceremony can begin. Please wait here until the time bell tomorrow morning. We can start then. Is that acceptable? Sounds good. Understood. Let us wait for the islands to rise precisely at the time of the 7 a.m. time bell.
Thankfully, it does it for you.
Thank you for waiting. The time has come. Do you want to hear an explanation of the ceremony?
Yes.
Very well, I will explain the ceremony. It is quite simple. Light the 3 fires, then return here before the next time bell rings 12 hours from now. But you must not set foot on any surface other than the roof of this temple during the ceremony. You have 12 hours. The sounding of the time bell will signal the start of the ceremony. It will end with the sound of the next bell. This concludes my explanation. It is now time for the ceremony to begin.
Alright. Let's do this. We mustn't land at all until we're finished. And that's why these parts of the island have risen. Let's see. They are big pedestals with a bunch of wood on them. Kind of like mega campfires, so to speak. Like that one over there. Let's go ahead and put that on. Now let's do this. Okay. That should work. Nice.
There's one. There's another campfire by the, around the middle here, so we're gonna head that way. Oh yeah, you also can't use your sage powers here, so Tulin is off limits. So let's head over here. The reason why I decided to do this as well is because, you know, story about the Great Sky Island, it's more lore. Might as well. Okay. Light this one. Okay. And then... the last fire is, I believe, over here by the Shrine of Light. Past the lake. Yes, I don't see it anywhere else. So yeah, we're heading over here. It's not over there, right? Do not see it. Okay. Ah, come on. Maybe I was mistaken that it's right by it? So it must be over here somewhere. Ah, actually it might be on that small little island right there. The one right above me. Let's swim up here just to make sure. Yep, there it is. Okay. There we go. We got all the fires. Now we just have to head back to the Temple of Time without touching the ground. That should be pretty easy. In fact, I'll just cut ahead because you don't really need you don't really need to see it. Probably speed it up is more like, yeah. Yeah, I think the 12 in-game hour time limit is pretty generous. So, here we go. Well done. You have proven yourself capable. I will now tell you the story of the Great Sky Island as promised.
The Temple of Time and the land it sits upon were once found on the surface of the world. This has changed. Its land and the lands surrounding it now float in the sky. There is a reason for this. The hero who will defeat the Demon King will one day awaken at this very site. The site must be kept safe from the Demon King and his followers. It was therefore raised high into the skies. The tremendous power of the sages accomplished this feat long ago.
That is the story of the Great Sky Island.
Oh, we got a cool little fabric for clearing this side adventure.
The sages who raised this land into the sky directed me to give this token to the one who heard my story. It is now yours.
Cool. So, with that, we can not
deposit those stone tablet pictures because nearly forgot about Robbie. Now that we have the entire map uncovered, we can power up the travel medallions now. Let's do that, and then we will close this off with the stone tablet ratings. Okay. Just gonna kind of change in front of you real quick, old man. Don't get too excited. Okay.
Hey you! We have more work to do. Your pad is nowhere near its full capability yet. So which feature do you want to add?
Travel medallion.
What? You have that map data already? And for 15 areas? In that case, I'll add the ability to travel to a second and third spot with the travel medallion feature. I knew you could do it. Great work. Come on, let me see that pad. Oh. Now give me just a moment.
Nice, we have 3 travel medallions that we can work with to set custom skip travel points wherever we want.
Unbelievable! With that, I fully upgraded the travel medallion feature. Consider it a great honor awarded to you for your extensive travels. Completed! At last your pad is perfect, and that means you are perfect!
Well, gee, thank you.
That is the objective truth, I'm very pleased to say. Because with all of that, you'll make infinitely better progress in your search for Princess Zelda.
About that.
Now when you find Princess Zelda, be sure to tell her you couldn't have done it without my pad improvements.
Sure thing, Robbie. Why did you have to remind me of that? Alright, let's just go ahead and drop off those stone tablet pictures. Okay. Wordsworth, we've got all the pictures that we need.
Oh?
Well, did you find a stone tablet? According to the stone tablet, yes, we have 12 more. Yes, some kind of visual evidence. Here's a picture. He does these in order, or we show these pictures in order. So, this one was found at South Eldon Sky Archipelago.
Oh.
Here's what the original text says. So sweet the song of King Rauru, and so great the beauty of his sister's dance, that my eyes and ears were captivated. And so kind Queen Sonia gazed on us all, so I felt my heart as captivated. Servant's life, though much laborious, have much joy as well. Long live the royal family, whom I love so.
Oh?
This is an account of a party from those days. It says King Rauru and his older sister sang and danced together while Queen Sonia looked on. It's very interesting. We think of royalty as austere and reserved, but these nobles amused themselves with song and dance. But what a vivid recounting of a scene never before related in any history book. The descriptions of their personalities and expressions make the ancient past feel alive again. This stone tablet is a first-class find. Well done, dear Chamberlain, in leaving behind this account for us. I'm positively beside myself to think of how this story from the ancient past persevered so long to reach us today. Thank you, Link, and I haven't forgotten about your reward. We get 100 rupees with every stone tablet we deliver to him, so to speak. So, we're gonna be rich. Next up, let's get the next one here. This one was found by the Lanayru Great Spring. And yes, some of these stone tablets do fall to the surface. So, yeah. Yeah, they do. Some of them do fall to the surface when you step foot on them. Sonia, queen to Hyrule's king, by birth a Hylian priestess, herself born of land, not of sky above. She speaks with an open heart, earnest to all, even to the Zonai's king. This king thinks it a good adventure to learn of the land's folk. To see his head bent to listen is such pleasure. Wow, this one looks to be about Queen Sonia. It claims that Sonia was a priestess before marrying Rauru. Despite his status as a Zonai, a people popularly thought to be gods, she would counsel him without any trepidation. Moreover, Rauru heeded this counsel. Incredible! This account gives us first-hand knowledge of the nature of Queen Sonia and King Rauru's relationship. Rauru found himself unexpectedly charmed by her strong will, and before long they were married. That last bit isn't in the text. That's just me speculating. Nonetheless, this is truly fascinating. History rarely speaks of a person's character prior to being elevated to royalty, so I can't help but fantasize. Very good. I thank you, not just with words, but with this as well. All right. Let's go ahead and show the next one. This was found over at the Hebra Mountain Sky. And the translation, often wise Rauru, king with a sharp blade, would set aside his royal duties in favor of hunting. And often clever Sonia, queen with keen insight, would seek him out and bring him back to his kingly responsibilities. In her wisdom, she seems to have a divine understanding, always able to find him, and him, in his foolishness, seems more humane. And the king, oh, he laughs. Knowing that he is not her equal in wit, he appreciates her intelligence. And the queen, she laughs too, as if scolding him playfully. Allow me to explain. It's actually a very enlightening story. Apparently, King Rauru would vacate his official business from time to time in order to go out hunting. I had the impression he was a stricter, more serious king, but I guess he had a lighter side as well. However, Queen Sonia was always a step ahead. She would put a stop to King Rauru's hunts and bring him back. In some circumstances, you might expect this to have been a point of tension at their court. But the tone here is much more playful than that. These royals were more relatable than one might assume. Or so it seems from this account, at least. How fascinating! We rarely get a glimpse into the down-to-earth side of royalty in this way. It's an important find, to be sure. Thank you, Lakin. I haven't forgotten about your reward. Alright. Let's get the next one down. This one was found at the East Hebra High Sky Archipelago. I cannot read that correctly. Don't mind the blood moon there in the corner. The translation for this one is, the king was late in coming this evening, so the queen made us share tales of her land, of shrines all green and glowing. From early days since Hyrule's founding, many monsters besieged and assaulted her realm. Relentless in strife, they brought despair to the people's lives. The king and queen seated themselves to bring an end to this scourge. With the might of light and power, they pushed them back, and the royal couple made these shrines to seal them away. These holy seals are called Shrines of Light. Great king, great queen, I thank you. You fought when I was a young maiden, that I could know peace. I'll walk you through this one. The subject here is the actions King Rauru and Queen Sonia undertook not long after Hyrule's founding. With the kingdom established, they were worried for their people, so they set out to eradicate the monsters troubling them. They created structures called Shrines of Light to seal the monsters away so that they could never be revived. There's more here about light, and time too. The sense I get is that the two of them may have had supernatural powers. Though it's part of ancient history, it's still a feat those of us living today should still be grateful for. Truly an important discovery. Very good, and as promised I have a reward for you. Nice. Alright, let's get the next one.
This one was found up at the West Necluda sky. The translation for this reads, Minoru, the king's elder sister, becomes so engrossed in her books that she often forgets to eat. In my weary state, I do all that I can, but I fear that it is of little avail. Lately, she speaks of constructs, things she creates with her hands as vessels for the spirit when the body fails. She says that by using these constructs, she might live longer, with her spirit housed within them. Although Minoru appears to hold no deceit, by my faith, I cannot fully believe these words. Ah, so King Raru's older sister was named Minoru. Here we learn a bit about her. It says that she neglected to eat or sleep while making something called a construct? It was part of her research into a means of returning to life as a spirit possessing a new body, should her original one die. To you or I, this sounds less like history and more like a sort of ghost story. But remember who we're dealing with. They may have had unfathomable powers that made such things possible. The revelation that Minoru was a fellow researcher makes her feel like a kindred spirit to me, and yet, the Chamberlain who inscribed these stone tablets treats Minoru with such care and kindness that it warms my heart. Very good, and as promised, I have a reward for you. Nice, nice. Let's keep going. 7 more to look at. This one was found above the Gerudo Desert. Here's what the original text translation reads. The weather is fine this morning, and I had an audience with the princess said to be kin, though distantly, to Queen Sonia. By grace, she has been given a name most sweet, called Zelda. Some suspicion stirred among certain folk, for her garments were strange and her appearance sudden. Yet her countenance and bearing prove her true blood and bond to Queen Sonia. As Zelda remains with us for a while, I will offer my services as a high maiden to her as well. This is another fascinating entry. If my translation is correct, the Zelda described here is Sonia's distant relative. According to this, she arrived in Hyrule unexpectedly from another kingdom. This kingdom. It seems she was a beautiful princess. Her strange clothing perplexed the people of Hyrule, and many were suspicious of her at first. But this Zelda had such an undeniable air of nobility that those who doubted she was of royal birth were soon silenced. What a tale! It's all so fascinating. This level of detail on individual people is virtually unheard of in texts from so long ago. I feel extremely blessed to be researching ancient Hyrulean in such times. Note, too, how clearly this conveys the writer's feelings regarding Zelda. Once it was clear Zelda would be staying, she applied to be chamberlain to the princess. That suggests real admiration. Very good, and as promised I have a reward for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get the next one done. Alright, so this one was found above the Necluda Sky Archipelago. I took a picture of this before it fell, so let's see what this has. Alright, the translation for this one reads, Princess Zelda recently came to see Minoru, the king's elder sister. I also came to serve her. Today it happened that Minoru showed Zelda the greatest construct I have ever seen. Zelda desired greatly to ride on it, and I couldn't stop her, although I protested loudly. Nevertheless, she sat high upon the construct's shoulders and rode it like a horse, full of grace. My admiration, already great, grew even more. The variety of tales on these stone tablets continues to fascinate me. Zelda apparently visited Minoru often to assist with her research. I have no idea what kind of thing this construct that allowed people to ride on it was. I have an idea. But Zelda wrote it so well that our author, the Chamberlain, was again impressed by her skill at everything she tried. That's the long and short of it here. But more than the narrative, what strikes me is the back and forth between the Chamberlain and Zelda. The Chamberlain tried to warn Zelda of the danger, but Zelda pushed past her and rode the construct anyway. It's short but so evocative of both the level of technology found in this era and the character of their visitor Zelda.
The treasure found in these stone tablets is the pearls of wisdom and nuggets of personality contained within. Very good, and as promised, I have a reward for you. Nice. Okay. We've got 5 more. We're nearly to the end. This one was found above the Necluda Sea. Here's what the translation reads. Current fashion favors garments adorned with mushroom patterns, and they are wide. The latest fashion came from the castle's seamstress, who sought to sew clothes to please Princess Zelda. Zelda told the seamstress that this fashion was well loved in her homeland. In her time, every pattern was of bright hues in the shape of mushrooms. Now, our skilled seamstress sets her work hard on copying these patterns, which bring happiness to many people. I seek some for myself, but cannot even find one.
Oh.
How curious. Here we learn something about the fashion trends of that era. The story's catalyst is their Zelda telling a tailor about the mushroom-patterned outfits becoming popular in her homeland. Intrigued, the tailor fashioned some clothing in that vein, and it caught on in ancient Hyrule. Do you know Cece from Hateno Village? Imagine the look on her face if she were to find out. Yeah, no kidding. They say that trends go in cycles, but I didn't expect mushroom patterns to have been in fashion so long ago. It probably wasn't before Zelda went to the past. Then again, how would Zelda have known about the mushroom patterns? I don't know, this is really weird. One last thing about the Chamberlain. Her interest in fashion shows there was more to her than devoted service. She was just like anyone else in the kingdom. Very good, and as promised, I have a reward for you. Okay, we're nearly there. 4 more left. This one is found above the Gerudo Highlands. In truth, well, I don't know. He does read these in order, but the pictures chosen may be random, actually. Anyway, the translation for this reads, Lately, I've heard it told that a strange lady walks around the castle in the dark of night. She and Princess Zelda appear as twins, but this one has no light in her eyes, more like a dead thing than not. When she is asked about these walks, Princess Zelda remembers nothing. What monster or spirit of darkness is this vision? So I am so afraid of my imaginings that I cannot sleep. This one is an ancient ghost story. My understanding of ancient Hyrulean isn't perfect, but I know a ghost story when I see one. It's a first-hand account of a ghostly or maybe corpse-like woman who appeared each night looking just like their Zelda. No matter the era, it seems, people can't resist sharing a good ghost story. A bit like how there have been eyewitness accounts of our Princess Zelda in the newspaper, even though she's missing. Could our Zelda be a ghost too? No, of course not. There's no such thing. Yeah. As a believer in science, I should know better than to suggest such things. Please forget I said anything. Very good, and as promised, I have a reward for you. Okay. Let's get the next one. This one might be a little bit long. I found this one at the Great Hyrule Forest depths. This one was actually found way above a chasm, and it fell clear down to the depths. So, yeah. Here's what the original text says, the translation. Since its founding, Hyrule has seen such hardships, but that is only a small period of time. Minoru, the king's elder sister, says that this kingdom should not always be caught unaware, not even far into the future. Princess Zelda tells her that this future is already written, that a champion will come from the sky. Between the two, they set out to find a way for this champion to help them in that distant time. They sought to raise the Temple of Time into the sky to guard it against evil. All so that in a distant day our kingdom might be saved. In my heart I know I must help, and I asked Minoru if she could devise a means to raise these stones into the sky. My words may not be enough, but they preserve the memory of the royal family high in the sky for that future time. This is unbelievable! The details are unclear, but essentially, the Chamberlain trusted in Minoru and Zelda's predictions and wanted to help. She put forth the suggestion to Minoru to build a mechanism that could make her stone tablets float in the sky. Which I take it are the very tablets you found, Link? Simply incredible. In finding the fantastic devices they built to preserve these records, you fulfilled the wishes she wrote of here. And it doesn't end there. If I'm reading this right, it suggests that their Zelda worked with Minoru to raise the Temple of Time into the sky. The idea of the Temple of Time, a grand edifice built in that ancient era, being lifted to the skies to await a hero. Trust me, that's what it says. Although given the appearance of the Sky Islands after the upheaval, perhaps it's not so far-fetched as it seems? There are so many revelations here. My hands are trembling from all the strange, exciting ideas. And that's from merely reading an account long removed from the event. What must it have been like for the Chamberlain to live through it? Thank you, Link, and I haven't forgotten about your reward. Okay. 2 more. Let's continue. This one, seemingly, I found at the South Hyrule Sky Archipelago. Here's the translation. Such a wondrous sight I have beheld that it cannot be justly described. I saw the Temple of Time, and all the land that held it, rise into the sky, both fearful and majestic. As Princess Zelda told me, in a distant future, a champion will come to that place, the hope to save Hyrule. For that champion, I inscribe these great stones. The king's elder sister, Minoru, now sends these stones to the sky, so that the champion may find them. My head is spinning. I need to lie down. This is incredible. This is an incredible find. An eyewitness account of the Temple of Time floating up into the sky? It's a landmark discovery for the history of Hyrule. It may be one of the top 10 most important discoveries of all time. Even among all the breathtaking displays of power we knew of from the era, to raise the land and its buildings into the sky, that was a feat impressive even to those accustomed to wonders. You can tell as much from this account. Zelda predicted that a hero would appear in the land they raised into the sky, and that he would save Hyrule. The Chamberlain took this on faith and wanted to know how she could help. So she inscribed these records on the stone tablets that Minoru sent into the sky. I'm so overwhelmed that the tremors have gone past my hands and legs. My whole body is shaking. Please excuse me, this is no way for a researcher to behave. I need to view these accounts as a historian and not get so swept up in personal sentiments. So, one may think that this is kind of contradictory to what we saw in the memories, because the very last memory we see of Zelda, she transformed into a dragon when the Temple of Time has not been risen yet. However, the Chamberlain was probably speaking in the past tense about what Zelda told her. So, I have a feeling that this isn't quite a contradiction, like some may say. Again, I think that line, as Princess Zelda told me, in a distant future, a champion will come to that place, the hope to save Hyrule. That's probably speaking in the past tense. Because it was, as Princess Zelda told me. But, like, in the past tense, before Zelda transformed into a dragon. So, here's the last picture. This one isn't quite as interesting. This one was found above the Sokola Sky Archipelago. This is basically just wrapping up. This is basically just wrapping up the historical accounts. The translation for this reads: Rauru, Hyrule's king, Sonia, his queen, his elder sister, Minoru, and also Princess Zelda. All whom I served and loved, all whom I cherished, alone I carve these words upon this stone. This stone and all 13 serve as the royal family's record, my final work, fully crafted for all ages. Many the mark made by these much-beloved people, some seen, some unseen. When I remember their marks, I feel a flame of hope, though very small, within me. It is as if these marks describe a grand design. I cannot measure Princess Zelda's love for her land. What more, I ask, can I do for Hyrule's people? Let my life lead me henceforth to a worthy answer to this question.
Oh.
It seems this is the last of the records. The royals whom the Chamberlain served so faithfully were gone, one by one. It's heartrending to read. Her pain comes across so clearly in her words. What's less clear from these entries is the cause of all these partings. Well, each new mystery is an opportunity to do more research. If I keep digging, someday I'll unravel it. Like the noble Chamberlain, I must do my part. Very good. And as promised, I have a reward for you. There's the last silver rupee. The thought of such incredible historical artifacts... Oh, wait a moment. Wasn't this the final stone tablet? We've collected all 13 of them! I can't believe it! Finally, I've translated the whole history. I'm gonna need a moment. Now that I've read all of it, well, to step outside my role as researcher, I'm deeply impressed with the author. I would very much have liked to meet her, if only the vast gulf of time didn't separate us. But of course, collecting the 13 records on these stone tablets would have been impossible without your cooperation, Link. In recognition of your work as a member, well, honorary member, of the survey team, I want you to have this cloth. Cool. Got another fabric to mess around with. I'll tell you, Link, I have never felt prouder to be a researcher than today. To see all of this valuable data compiled on the research lab wall makes me almost overcome with emotion. Where should I display this one? Maybe on the wall over here? Goodness, but this place could use a tidying up.
Oh.
Everything you gave me is posted to the research lab wall. By all means, come and look at it whenever you like. I gained some precious understanding from my analysis of the text discovered this time. This history the Chamberlain left for posterity contains not just facts, but an important record of her feelings. I want to continue my research of ancient Hyrulean so I can convey those feelings to the rest of the world. Link, thank you very much for working with me on this. Ah, man. That was a lot of talking. But we have all of that information pasted onto the walls here, in case we want to reread them. Yep, we can read the tablet's texts, and then Wordsworth's notes on them. So yeah, it's not incredibly interesting, but I thought it was neat to learn a little bit more about the ancient history of Hyrule. Anyway, we've done it. The very last thing we need to do now is to take the fight to Ganondorf, the Demon King, waiting below Hyrule Castle. So, this has been Mr. Bacon Bits with Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. And the next video, we're finishing this thing. See you guys then.